Hey everybody, Jamie from the Marine Doctors YouTube channel, and the yard is getting empty. It's that time of year where stuff starts to slow down. I know you'd think August would be super busy, but it's typically not. September, for the first part of September, is going to be even worse. People are getting back to school, or kids are getting back to school, I should say, and people are getting them ready to go back to school. Sports are starting to fire back up, and boating gets put on the back burner. But, well, first of all, I want you guys to look at this. Homemade or not? Or maybe someone revamped it. Maybe it's a revamp. I don't know. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is winterizing, because I got a call the other day and the guy's already wanting to bring his boat in. I think he's a school teacher. That could be why, and he's just gonna be too busy. So he brings it in early August. So that's the sign that the year is starting to close down and come to an end. Now, we only do boats here. We don't do quads and things like that. We don't do jet skis or sea-doos or what have you. So, and snowmobiles, we don't do those either. So we've got a select amount of time for us to make our money. Typically, what, 5, 6, maybe if we're lucky, 7 months of the year for us to make our money to keep this place afloat, which we've been able to do successfully for, well, many, many years. But winterizing, let's get back to that. There's people out there that don't believe in winterizing, and there's people that do it religiously. Every year they do their winterizing. So let's talk about that guy. You know, the guy that doesn't do his maintenance. He's made it for how many years? 20, 30 years, and he hasn't done anything to his boat, including winterizing. But I bet if we look on the inside of that engine, it's going to tell us a different story. So if we were to scope that engine, so that's take a camera and or remove the head, but take the camera and look inside the cylinders, we would probably see freckling. So I've mentioned in some other videos and shown you guys examples of freckling. If you haven't seen those videos, check back in the history of the videos and take a look at what freckling is. And I'll explain a little bit what freckling is, but you can actually see pictures of freckling that I have on or in some videos. So freckling is basically just that. It's dots that would appear on the cylinder wall due to water settling on it over the course of the winter or long storage periods, or without being protected by storage fog. So storage fog is a thin oil that we use, and it coats the metal surfaces to help prevent corrosion over time. So if we were to look into this fella's engine, we would probably see, like I mentioned, freckling. So freckling in itself, well, it is a bad thing, but in most cases it's really fine. It's basically as soon as the piston moves up the wall, it scrapes it off, and the orange freckling is now gone, but you're left with black. So the black freckling is probably minuscule amounts of corrosion that's taken place, but over time this adds up. Now, 2-stroke engines, they seem to be a lot more tolerant to this freckling. 4-stroke, not at all. Nope. 4-stroke, as soon as that freckling starts, that cylinder or that piston is done. The engine's got to be either rebuilt or replaced. But like I said, the 2-stroke guys, they seem to get a little more lucky. But I also believe that the 2-stroke guys a little luckier because of the amount of oil that actually goes through that engine with the 2-stroke oil. So I've torn engines down, obviously, to rebuild them, and sometimes you look inside them and there's just gobs of oil and fuel stuck in them. So there's lots of oil that stays in a 2-stroke engine, but is that a free pass? No, it's not. And the reason I say that is the way we shut the engines off, or when we shut the engines off, you're going to have one piston that is open to the elements for sure. So what that means is the exhaust port is going to be open, and be this a 2-stroke or 4-stroke engine, if a valve is open, it's open to atmosphere. Atmosphere would allow for air to get in there and then condensation to take place inside that cylinder, which then leaches onto the walls and creates that freckling and that corrosion. So that's one of the things we want to protect against when it comes to winterizing our outboard motors. So what about 4-strokes, or not 4-strokes, sorry, stern drives. Stern drives, do we use storage fog in those? We can and we should, but from what I've seen, those are a lot more tolerant and less likely to get condensation inside them. But is that a free pass? No, that's not a free pass either. We still want to do our due diligence and winterize those engines properly, which means adding storage fog in through the carburetor. And I also want to mention that I've got a video that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be the super simple way to winterize stern drives. You're not going to believe how easy this is going to be. And I've seen other videos, and I've talked to other shops, and guys, they do overkill when it comes to winterizing and do a bunch of work and charge you guys money that isn't needed to be charged other than to support the dealership. So basically what they're doing is they're selling you fear that something's going to break over time in the winter. Of course, you can. And I've seen plenty of guys come in with engine blocks. They've tried to do it themselves that have maybe just been led in the wrong direction or just don't have the experience that they need in order to winterize their stern drives properly. So, of course, that always leads to an engine being replaced, which is good for us, but not good, obviously, for that person. So it's going to be a really simple and quick way to winterize. It's the one that we actually do here. So it's easy enough that you almost feel guilty charging a person money. I know, right? But we got to stay afloat, and we got to stay afloat somehow. And ideally, how we do our winterizing here is based on the law of averages. Everyone kind of gets charged a flat rate. Some are easy, and some are very difficult to do. So that's how we work things here. But I want you guys to stay tuned for that video. That'll be out fairly soon. I guess, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll wait for that. Hopefully, if that boat is here, well, today, tomorrow, or within the next few days, maybe I can get that video out for you guys so everyone's all set for winterizing. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and hey, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.